Hello everyone, we're the Group 8 member of Sustainability Tourism Destination Development class, and today we will be talking about Niagara College Indigenous Garden.
Indigenous Garden. Indigenous gardens generally serve as an outdoor classroom, providing educational opportunities for Indigenous learners and visitors, tourists, to learn and develop greater understanding about Indigenous history, culture, traditional ecological knowledge, and sustainable land stewardship practices. They can also serve as spaces for healing, reflection, and community engagement. Each campus at the Niagara College has an Indigenous garden where native plants, sacred medicines are grown. The garden includes plants indigenous to Ontario, such as cedar, white sage, sweetgrass, and tobacco, which are medicines used in ceremony. Applying the Sustainable Development Goal 15 to the NC Indigenous Garden, we would like to focus on their interrelationship and interdependence. According to the United Nations, SDG 15, Life on Land, is a goal to basically protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems. Sustainably manage forests, combat desertification, and halt and reverse land degradation and halt biodiversity loss. Indigenous gardens align very closely to this goal by contributing to the global agenda of promoting sustainable land use, biodiversity conservation, and cultural preservation. It also showcases the interconnections between nature, Indigenous communities, and the tourism industry, fostering sustainable practices and enhancing the well-being of both the environment and local communities. I will try to talk a little bit about garden tourism. Garden tourism is an essential attraction for many tourism purposes and attracts many tourists worldwide. Studies have shown that 1/3 of tourists around the world visit gardens during their travels. Benfield 2013. With the rise in enthusiasm for garden tourism, the concept of garden tourism has gradually emerged in recent years, referring to tourism activities where people visit gardens, parks, botanical gardens of historical and sightseeing significance. Chapovel et al. 2020. Now, sustainable tourism. Sustainable tourism is defined formally by the UN Environment Programme and the UN World Tourism Organization as tourism that takes full account of its current and future economic, social, and environmental impact, addressing the needs of visitors, the industry, and the host community. Sustainability in tourism is strongly connected to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, developed by the UN as a call to action to promote global prosperity while protecting the planet. Tourism is recognized as a key sector in the challenge to meet the 17 SDGs. According to the United Nations, a flourishing life on land is the foundation for life on this planet. Promoting a sustainable use of our ecosystems and preserving biodiversity is not a cause, it is a key to our own survival. The two related to-dos advised by the UN to reach this goal faster includes: 1. Do not use pesticide. To protect and sustain the quality of soil, don't use chemicals while growing plants. Indigenous gardens do not require the use of pesticide because the plants and flowers are native to the land and hence are less susceptible to pests. 2. Clean your local parks and forests. Organize your own or join an existing cleanup event to sustain the ecosystem of your local green space. The Indigenous Garden at NC, by showcasing the beauty and significance of indigenous plants, has helped to raise awareness about the importance of preserving and protecting our natural environment. The garden has over time successfully been used to educate students and visitors, tourists, about the importance of protecting local flora and fauna. But there are some problems and challenges that the SDG 15 did not address in relationship to Niagara College Indigenous Garden, and there are also solutions prescribed. which are the issues of the waste management, the issue of increased carbon footprint due to transportation, the lack of community involvement, erosion and degradation of natural resources, and a gap between sustainability and financial goals. Nevertheless, there are several solutions that can be implemented by improvement in waste management and energy efficiency practices. This is just trying to say we can try to always recycle our waste. Incorporation of sustainability metrics in financial goals. Involvement of local indigenous communities in the decision making. Ecotourism promotion and promoting sustainable practices among tourists. So, we're also asked to recommend another SDG that can align with this. So, we have decided to pick SDG 11. The SDG 11 says sustainable cities and communities. Make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. The Indigenous Garden aligns and promotes these goals as discussed under the following points. Urban biodiversity. Indigenous gardens, by incorporating native plants and trees, have provided habitats for local wildlife and promoted urban biodiversity. By creating green spaces, Indigenous gardens contribute to the overall ecological balance and help combat the negative effects of urbanization. Sustainable land use. Indigenous gardens prioritize the use of native plants and traditional cultivation methods that are adapted to local environment conditions. They promote sustainable land use by utilizing local resources efficiently and minimizing the ecological footprint of urban development. The third one, cultural preservation. The Indigenous garden can serve as a communal space, fostering community engagement and social cohesion. By involving local communities in the planning, design, and maintenance of the garden, it encourages active participation and ownership. This engagement promotes a sense of belonging and pride among residents, ultimately leading to more inclusive and resilient communities.
We would like to talk about a few important things of NC Indigenous Garden. We get to understand and learn that NC Indigenous Garden will help our indigenous learners flourish and develop a greater understanding of their culture within our college community.
It can also be used to grow. It can also be used to grow medicine and teach people about the importance of medicine, cultivation of food, and also.
In June, there's going to be the celebration of National Indigenous History Month in Niagara College, and the Niagara College Indigenous Education Department is going to be hosting this event. This event will offer the entire college opportunity to learn about the history of the indigenous communities in Canada. It will help celebrate the rich and diverse culture of those communities. It's going to support NC's body of indigenous students and promote the reconciliation process in Canada.
So finally, achieving UN SDG 15 will help to the overall sustainable development of society by protecting ecosystem and biodiversity for current and future generations. To solve the interconnected concern of terrestrial ecosystem, forests, desertification, land degradation, and biodiversity loss, it is a shared responsibility that requires community action, creativity, and a comprehensive approach. We can create a world where nature flourishes, ecosystem flourish, and human well-being is harmoniously balanced with the environment by working together.